another episode of the Tapestry podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Froswá Booker-Drew, and I have somebody special in the studio today. We have just been chatting it up, but I got to do the formalities.
Okay.
I got to introduce you.
Yes.
And then we'll start talking because I need people to know who you are because I know who you are.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start.
Let's go.
The amazing Prinscilla Moore is the founder of Delighted to Doula Birth Services. For as long as she can remember, supporting and educating families has been her passion. Prinscilla believes all families should be properly educated and equipped with the knowledge and tools they need in preparation for postpartum and infant care. Prinscilla is a wife, a mother of 4 beautiful girls, and a grandmother of another girl. There's a lot of girls in her life. Prinscilla decided to pursue her passion professionally by becoming a doula and completed doula training for birth, postpartum, lactation education, and new parent education through Childbirth and Postpartum Professional Association. Since 2012, she has been servicing families in Michigan, California, and now Texas. In 2015, she became a certified Health Connect One community-based breastfeeding peer counselor and was handpicked to be a doula trainer and advisory board member for Black Mothers Breastfeeding Association in Detroit, Michigan. She was recently selected to attend the Training of Trainers course for the March of Dimes on health disparities concentrated on racial disparities in infant mortality and adverse birth outcomes. She launched Delighted to Doula Birth Services, a nonprofit where she educates and supports families during the 4th trimester to reduce the maternal mortality rate in North Texas. She holds new parent classes in hospitals, churches, and privately throughout the North Texas area and online. She holds the leadership position in the Childbirth and Postpartum Professional Association as the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity Delegation Advisor. She's a faculty member and trains professionals for the Certified Lactation Educator, Postpartum Doula, and New Parent Educator programs. You do a lot.
And I feel it.
Let's talk about it because, I am intrigued by what you do, but you already know that. How did you become a doula? Because we talk about the story of when I was pregnant,
yes,
I had a doula,
yes,
and it didn't work out for me.
Yes.
How did you get into this space?
Honestly, so I had a sister-in-law that was a doula in California.
And what is a doula? Because some folks may not know, so let's back it up.
Let's back it all the way up. Okay. So first and foremost, let's just say the word doula, because doula is a servant, a woman's servant. And so we support mothers before, during, and after childbirth. Now you can get down into all the doulas, but the most common would be birth doula or labor doula, and then postpartum doula. And labor birth is, while she's pregnant, and then during, so pregnancy, labor, and then right after delivery. And then once she goes home, that's where the postpartum doula comes in. So that's after birth care. And so postpartum doulas support her journey into parenthood. And that could be baby care education. That could be, we focus on the mother. So it's making sure she's resting, eating. Yes,
which is what I needed so much because I did not have someone telling me, you need to go to sleep when the baby is asleep. My grandmother would tell me that stuff because you really don't know what to do. You're like, oh my God, I have this thing that's my baby and I don't know what to do. Exactly. And to have that kind of support is amazing. Yeah. So how did you get into this?
Okay. So my sister-in-law was a postpartum doula in California. And I honestly thought it was some rich thing because I had never heard of it. And now we're talking 2010, somewhere up in there, maybe even 2009. And so, you think about that long ago, you would not have really heard of a doula. So she just kept calling me like, you would be amazing at this. Like, I love this job. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll look it up, but I don't know anybody that's a doula in my area. I'm in Michigan, so who does this? I looked it up, CAPPA, and they actually had trainings coming to Michigan. It was like 3 months or so down the line. And it wasn't even in my area. I had to drive 3.5 hours to go to this training. But when I spoke to CAPPA and all that a postpartum doula does and what it entails, I was so intrigued because I'm a caregiver, naturally.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a caregiver naturally. So I took to that. And I went and did that training, and it was life-changing. I knew that it was it. And my first job as a postpartum doula, very first job, was triplets. And I was only paid $15 an hour.
Oh, wow. With 3 babies?
With 3 babies. I vowed never to do that again. Ever. 1, I'm not doing triplets, and 2, definitely not for $15. That's $5 a baby. So underpaid.
Hardly.
But that experience, it was my first job. I didn't really know what to do, but what way to jump in?
Definitely.
And it has, from that point, I was doing twins, which I loved. I love twins. 3 babies is just too much, but 2 I could handle. Most of my career I did twins. And
wow.
Yeah, it was my calling. It really was my calling. I was so used to taking care of elderly, and that's a different phase. And I love doing that. But this was life. It was a little different. It was a little different. And I really fell in love with this. And so there it went.
We were talking one day about you initially started off doing the pregnancy doula.
I did.
And what was the thing that made you go, no?
Yeah, that's too much. Every single mother that I had, it was in the middle of the night. I'm like, do babies come in the morning? I mean, do we come in the morning, afternoon? What is this 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning thing? I'm like, who does that? I don't remember any of this.
I need y'all to get on a schedule.
Why are we going to the hospital at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? So I didn't like that.
Sleep is important.
Sleep is so important. Sleep is so important. And they're calling like all the time. I did not like that. I didn't want you to call me 2 weeks prior and talk about these pains you're going, all the things. I knew that wasn't for me. And I did it a few times. And I quit.
She says it so matter-of-factly. I quit. No.
I love the 9, 10 centimeters or 8 to 10, because I noticed about myself is that I thrive off of the need. When I see that you need something, that's where I go into action. I love that. So at 8 to 10 centimeters, I was everything. Oh, I was the best doula ever. Yeah, but as soon as the baby came out and all the oxytocin in the air and I'm crying and then I sit down and I'm like, okay, this is over. I'm ready to go home. This is done. Oh, but I got to stay and talk to mom a little bit and talk about breastfeeding, but I want to go home. Like I was done. I didn't like the before. I didn't like the after. Just 8 to 10 centimeters. And that's not a doula.
No.
That's not a doula.
That's
not
a cheerleader.
That's a cheerleader. That is a cheerleader. So yeah, I quit. I knew where my place was. I totally gave up birth. Like I really did throw it out my mind because I didn't want all of that knowledge that I had. I didn't want to talk about it in postpartum. It's a lot of information in birth. Like it's a lot.
It is.
And it's a lot to just keep holding on to when you need to know about how to take care of someone after birth. So I let that go and totally put my focus on postpartum because I felt that was important, the most important. Not that birth isn't.
But you knew your lane.
I knew my lane.
And that's so good that you were able to figure out your place.
I did. Very early.
That you didn't go, oh, this is, what everybody else is doing. I'm going to be in this space because everybody is doing it. And you went with what you knew.
I did. I left birth on the table. I took a test. I had, through CAPPA, I took my birth to become certified. I was going through the test. I failed it miserably. So I knew. I said, yeah, it's just not for me. It is not for me. They were like, you can take it over. I would never take it over. I don't want to do that. I'm going to walk away. Postpartum? Oh, I think I got most of them right. Maybe about 5 or so wrong out of like 100 and some odd questions. That was me. The caregiver in me. That's who I was.
So what does a postpartum doula do? Walk us through what does that look like?
Okay, so professionally, let me go there because you can either work days or nights. We usually discuss that with parents and, see what works, see where they fit and how they feel about it. Are they looking to, really catch up on their sleep? Are they first time? Are they second time parents? That all matters. Second time parents may not want you to be there at night. They may want you to be there during the day so that they can kind of be with the other child. But first time parents, they're not really for sure. They may want that extra hour sleep, Partner may have to go to work or however that looks. So that's like the first discussion. What am I working? Day? Am I working nights? We come into the home. What I always did, I had this, I made up this whole thing in the beginning. It was called a fresh 72. That means that I came in, once you get home from the hospital, I waited about 5 hours. I come and I stay for 72 hours. And
that's a critical time.
Yes. And I learned that just by working. I'm like, those first 3 days are crucial.
They are.
So I need to stay here and live in the house so that she can really get the care that she needs. And I love that. Again, I thrive on the knee, right?
But it makes sense. But that is the time that moms, especially moms who've been ill during their pregnancy, are in a critical space themselves.
I mean, I had times where mother, she had to go back to the hospital.
Yeah.
So guess who's at the house with the baby? Me. Who would have been there? Don't know. Maybe she had to go by herself and partner had to stay home with the baby. Don't know. But, those couple of times I've been there. I had a mom that wanted to hire me really bad. And she said she didn't know why she did. She just figured, I can do it myself. And she called me maybe about almost a month later and had me come over. Her mother had a stroke in the house with her, while they were taking care of the baby. She just, out of nowhere, had a stroke. She had to get her mother, her husband was out of town. She had to get her mother to the doctor. A neighbor she didn't even know had to come and take care of the baby while she took her mother to the. So you never know why you need a postpartum doula and why that's important. It's those unknowns because birth is unknown. We don't know when you're actually going to have the baby, even though you have a due date. We don't know if you're actually going to have postpartum depression, even though you are not a person that you don't know because you don't know what's going to happen. Your hormones and they're all out of whack. Everything has to go back to pre-pregnancy state. So you don't know what that experience is going to be, which is why you should just plan to have a postpartum doula anyway. Just have one.
I wish I had that because at the time I had Kaiser, that was not a service that was available. And, we had talked about how ill I was with Kaiser. I was very sick with her in my pregnancy. And to have had that kind of support, even though, husband was there at the time and my mom came in for a little bit, but just having someone to really walk you through that is so important. Yeah. And I wanted to read some data because while your work is critical, it's especially important for Black women.
Absolutely.
Because we know that there's so many disparities in pregnancy.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we think about during pregnancy, but we don't think about what happens after pregnancy.
Exactly.
And I want to read this. It says, Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to experience a pregnancy or childbirth-related death than white women.
Yeah.
Recognizing these issues increase the feelings of depression and anxiety, which can increase Black women's risk of developing postpartum depression. Yeah. Postpartum depression affects 1 in 8 women. However, the risk is 1.6 times higher for Black women than white women. Black women are nearly 3 times as likely to die from a maternal cause as white women. Black women are also more likely to have C-sections, which is what I had, have their pain minimized or ignored, report mistreatment, and have stillbirths than white women. Talk about these disparities because you see them all the time.
Yeah, it's sad. Which is why I got into this work. I didn't have a disparity personally. However, I didn't have support.
Yeah.
I didn't have resources. And working as a doula professionally, more and more, I kept seeing, I'm giving all these services to all these people and resources, and I didn't have that. And not me, I mean, my whole community. We don't have it. And so, which is how I started Delighted to Doula, the nonprofit, because somebody has to do it. Somebody has to offer these services to the community that is suffering.
And we see that for women of color, Black and brown women do not have these resources. No. And to see the suffering that happens and suffering in silence that happens is unreal.
It is unreal. When we just recently opened the Postpartum Wellness Center, one of the things that happens every time a mother comes in, it's mental. It's an issue. And that's every mom. And so you're wondering, it's more to it than her just dying, maternal mortality, passing away right out, those few days after birth, or, the suicide rate. We have to help these moms. I had a mom come in that was contemplating suicide that I did not know. She didn't tell us until she sent an email that night. But because she came in and she felt safe and she felt heard and she felt listened to, she's still here. She's still here. That's the problem. Our mothers are not being heard. And that's the one thing we hear all the time. I finally felt heard. Somebody listened to me. It's just that simple.
But there aren't spaces for that. And I remember just the hormone stuff that you go through. You do have this sadness that is unreal. And you're by yourself. And you're like, I have this human being that I'm now responsible for that I don't know what to do. And your life has changed drastically. Yeah. And it's not that you don't love your child, but you're just like, oh my God, here is something now that I've got to take care of. What do I do? And all these thoughts and things go through your mind. To have a place like Delighted to Doula is critical. Yeah. Talk about what Delighted to Doula does, because y'all have to see this place. It is just a remarkable facility that is doing such good work. So talk about it.
Yeah. So we have a postpartum wellness center.
Yes.
So postpartum doula work support is the heart of Delighted to Doula. That is what we do. We go out to mothers in their own homes and we support them for a good 6 weeks. But through the first full year, right? Even though we're out of the home at 6 weeks, we're calling every single month and we're hitting those resources or whatever we need. So that's step 1. Step 2 is mental health. So you walk in our doors and whatever it is that you want to unload, you have this safe space to do so. Postpartum doulas are not therapists, but we're darn good listeners. We are. And we know how to, save space. give that mom space to vent, to get it out, to air her whatever it is, or not, or not. And then the other part is healthcare. And so we are working on the healthcare portion, but we do have a chiropractor now that comes on Thursdays, and our moms at low cost are able to get chiropractic care. That's part of self-care. That's part of wellness. That's part of healing. And so we want to add massage to that. You know, we're going to be getting public health students to come in and do well checks, postpartum well checks. Again, nothing birth. So we're just looking at blood pressures and cholesterol, diabetes, and, you know, those type things, just to make sure that they're good. Answer those questions. How many questions did you have at 8 weeks?
Oh, my goodness.
That you wanted to call a doctor for, and they're just like, there's nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something wrong to you. And so to get those questions answered, because they still come in, they have all these, a long laundry list of questions, and that's what we're there for. In our beautiful bedroom.
Y'all, this bedroom, I told her that I just want a place where they have this bedroom, even though my child is an adult. I just want to come in the bedroom and just rest myself.
Yeah,
Talk about it.
Oh, it's amazing. So that our bedroom, it's like a hotel, so to speak. We call it our repose room. It's rest. And mothers can come, they can reserve the room. We'll watch the baby while she rests.
It's amazing.
We had a mom come in last week. She just came in today. She's reserved a room for tomorrow. But she came in off the bus last week, found out about us, came in, we talked to her. She came in about 11-ish. 11:30, she asked could she lay down. We had to wake her up at 4:15.
She needed some rest.
Yes, she did. We fed the baby. I mean, you know her. I call them the babies. But we fed her, you know, made sure she had water. I mean, she said, again, I never felt so loved and heard and at home. She's like, this is home. Like, how did y'all do that?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I told you when I saw it, I was like, I wish I had that. I just want a space for women to just go take a nap.
That's it.
And somebody's there bringing me something to drink and something to eat.
It may end up turning into that. More and more of us need to go in here and lay down.
Yeah, just lay down.
But that's
beautiful because you are exhausted as a mom when you have babies.
You are.
You know, because it's so much that babies need, and they're not sleeping.
No.
So to be able to have that kind of resource is phenomenal.
Yes.
I have a personal question for you.
Sure.
Because I see your family. You have an amazing husband. Your daughters are amazing. How do you balance doing this work? And you have such love and support. They came to the grand opening. They're helping their mom and his wife, and they're loving on you. How are you able to have all of this goodness? What is the key to all of this love and support that you have? How have you been able to do all of this?
I don't know, but we're all crazy. It's a house full of craziness, but good craziness. My husband is so supportive.
He
is so supportive. He is the reason why I got how I got started, but how I got started. But he made the phone calls. He made the appointments. Like I had nobody. And he was fighting for the mothers that had been dying. Like he was out there saying, my wife want to help. Now, who do I call? And and he did all of that. We are tight knit. We do have something special, I love my girls. He loves his girls, and we just instill love inside of them. I was raised like that, in a home where my mom and dad, we just love to love, and so that's what I came from. He didn't quite come from that, but he's a part of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
He saw something different and he fell in love with it, and he loves to love, and he. That's our, we're just a rock for each other. And
you are.
those girls are just...
they're an amazing family to watch, the love that they have for each other. It is a gift to watch y'all's love for each other, and then how you love on other people.
And that's not easy. We get to, I mean, I love people, yes. But I mean, I got to a point recently where I ran out. You know?
Talk about how because it happens.
Yeah, I had experienced, I think it was compassion fatigue. And I had hit the buzzer, you know? And crying constantly, and I couldn't figure out, like, what in the world is going on. And the more people that talked about, mothers coming in, I was just like, I only have this much left, you know? And so I just had to shut the whole organization down for a week so that I can regroup and figure out what the heck. I had been going for so long, you know, just going, grand opening, still going. In the social, at United Way, in the incubator program, now in the accelerator program. And
just running.
I've been just running, and it had taken a toll. And so I now know that in order to, you know, talk about self-care, speak self-care, and I do self-care things, but I need more, is what I have just found out. I need more. I can't just keep running like that. And it has to be a place where, you know, you have to take a stop, you have to break, and then go. And then you have to take another little small break. And it don't have to be big ones, but you have to regroup, or else you're not going to be able to continue to do this work.
And it's hard work. It's hard work. Anytime you are helping people, there, you know, and I'm going to go to scripture, because, you know, I am.
Yes.
But, you know, when you think about when the lady touches Jesus' garment and he goes, power went out of me. Mm-hmm. I don't think we realize that every time we are working with people, there is power that goes out of you. And we're not divine. So if Jesus noticed it and noticed that happened, what is happening to us who do not have divinity?
And we go home drained.
Yes.
And you have to take a shower to, like, you feel it's heavy.
Yes.
Doula work, serving, is heavy work.
Very. Very.
And then, you know, you're giving yourself for pennies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But, you know.
And so it's the value that we have to place on ourselves. And it comes to a point of you can serve, but not at the expense of you.
Yeah.
And to your point, it is, how do you take the breaks and know when to say no is a complete sentence and put a period behind it, because it is hard. And people will pull and pull and pull because there's so much need. Yeah. But we're limited resources. Yeah. And so I'm glad that you were able to know that you got to stop and pull back, because it's exhausting work to give, because you're pouring out. Yeah. But at some point, the vessel, if it's not getting replenished, does not have much to give back.
Yeah. God told me to sit down and be still. And I did just that.
But I'm glad you were obedient and you listened.
Yes. Because I couldn't do anything. I literally just did nothing. Not even, barely moved. Because it was heavy. I felt like things were on top of me, you know. So I just know everybody survived that week.
and that's what people need to realize. Life will go on without you. It will be okay.
Nobody was complaining, you know. Everybody was fine.
Exactly. And that's what I hope people realize, that when we do this work, need will still be there.
Absolutely.
And it will go on without us.
That's right.
How do we make sure that in the time that we are there, that we are doing good for people and doing good for ourselves? And both of those are possible.
They are possible. And we have to, I know now that I have to make that a habit.
Yeah.
And that's you know, I always use this analogy, or this Chick-fil-A. They're closed on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
They are actually at football stadiums, basketball stadiums. But if it's a game on Sunday, they're not open. It is what it is.
And
everybody knows it. And so you have to have that same mindset. We're going to shut down for whatever. I'm going to take these breaks, and everybody's going to get used to it, and everybody's going to be fine.
And they don't mind. It has not hurt their revenue one iota.
Not a one. Everybody waiting for Monday.
Exactly. And they're okay. And I think that's a lesson for all of us, is that it is okay.
It is okay. And so I have to take those. I have to do it because it's my staff is small. My doulas that part is large, but I mean my inside staff is small. So we're doing a lot of work, and it's weighing. And now that we have mothers coming into the office, into the space, we have to work, stop 2, 3, 4 hours with our mom. Now we're heavy.
You got to release that. So I hope you keep releasing. You are doing such amazing work. How can folks reach out? I want them to know the website.
Yes.
How can they get to the website and find y'all on social media?
So everything is delightedtodoula.org. Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are all at Delighted to Doula. And then Twitter is Delight, 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 the number 2, and then Doula. Because for some reason they don't let you have all those letters.
So y'all reach out. You have got to support this amazing organization because the work she is doing is phenomenal. If you can tour, please tour.
Please.
But support this work, whether it's through your donations, your in-kind support with diapers for moms, anything that you can do to support this work. I would encourage you to just pour into what Prinscilla is doing. I want to say thank you because I see what you do, and it is not only a need, it's remarkable. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for being on the show.
Oh, this was the best.
I love you. I just love you. So I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you to the audience for listening and just knowing that this is a safe space, that we want this to be a show where you can hear wonderful stories of women and see yourselves in these women and know that you're not alone, all of us go through these struggles. But one thing that we know we have in common is we get through it.
We get through it.
So thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.